Welcome back, everybody. This is the thejonnymar, and I'm continuing with Final Fantasy II. So we are heading into the Deist Cavern because we have two particular paths to take in this particular dungeon. The first path is to the left of the entrance, and this will take us to a dead end, but there are a bunch of items along this path that we can pick up. And there's actually also a special kind of event that occurs on this particular path related to the other path, and I'll get to that when we get to it on the other path. So we are going to continue along this route, fighting enemies as we go. Remember that the enemies you are looking out for on this particular route and in the cavern in general are the Hillgigas. They can fight you one at a time or two at a time, and so if you take them on, make sure that you curse them as quickly as possible. We're also going to take on some other new enemies, including these green ogres, the Ogre Chiefs. They are actually pretty tough. They have about 300 HP, and they can take quite a beating from you in terms of your physical attacks. So we're going to try to take them out as quickly as possible, because if you give them a chance, they have a pretty powerful physical attack. So let's kill them as fast as possible with our physical attacks. So once we get to the dead end here in the Deist Cavern, we'll pick up all the items. We'll take on a little of a kind of sub-boss, so to speak, a monster in a box for one of the items we're going to pick up. And then we're going to cast Teleport to exit. We'll use our first cottage to heal all of our party members, and then we will continue onward to the second path through the dungeon. Now remember, in our last episode, we actually came into the Deist Cavern one time, and that was to get the pendant so we could talk to the Wyvern. And the Wyvern gave us a Wyvern egg. Here's another new enemy in this particular area, the Revenants. Revenants have a nasty little ability. They can actually physically attack you and absorb your health. So you want to try to take them out again as quickly as possible. If you're facing a group of 3 or 4 of them, you can just use a fire spell, or you can use Furian's life spell, multi-targeted, to try to take them out in one round. But we are in here to find the bottom of this particular cave, and we have a new enemy again, and that is the Dual Heads. They're not too tough, but unfortunately, when you do encounter them, you're going to tend to find them with other really tough enemies like Adamantoise. So we unfortunately have 2 Adamantoise here, which again are still beyond our physical attack capabilities. So Maria is going to be our MVP against them. And they are actually the enemy we're going to take on when we get the monster in the box that we're about to encounter. So one of the chests we're going to open has the knight armor in it, and then once we get that, we're going to have to take on up to 4 Adamantoise. Now it's variable. You can face anywhere from 1 to 4. Hopefully I'll face a little bit less than that, and since you've seen Adamantoise over and over again, I'm just going to skip ahead. I'm not necessarily going to show the fight, because it could take a really long time if there's a lot of them. But yeah, we are here in the Deist Cavern because we need to try to preserve the Wyvern species by putting the Wyvern egg in the life spring at the bottom of this cavern. So that is our goal, and that's really all we're doing here. Like, remember, our quest was to just see if there were any Dragoons left. We've discovered that there aren't, but there might be. So when we talk to, and this is where the knight armor is, where you can take on the Adamantoise. So the knight armor, again, a heavy piece of equipment, increases your defense, but really weighs you down, lowers your evasion. So you can decide if you want to equip that. I'm not going to use it. Although we are getting to a point now where I'm actually going to get some new armor I can actually equip. So that is very soon. But we're going to teleport out, we're going to use a cottage, and then we're going to head back in to do the second path in the Deist Cavern. But we're trying to preserve the Wyvern species, if I can actually finish this train of thought, by getting to the bottom of the Deist Cavern. and that'll be on this particular route. The Dragoons were wiped out by the Empire. There are none left. Wyverns are currently dead, except for our egg, so they're not going to be of much help either. So, but last episode, when we talked to the Wyvern after we got the pendant, it had mentioned that there was a Dragoon named Rickard that had gone on some quest looking for the ultimate magic. So it's possible that there is still one Dragoon out there somewhere. So kind of keep that in mind, the back of your mind, the back burner, so to speak, as we pick up some mithril equipment here and continue through the dungeon. Because maybe we'll encounter Rickard at some point. Usually when characters just kind of mysteriously disappear, they have a kind of propensity to show back up. So here's a bridge. Don't go on it. So I mentioned before that these paths actually intersect. If you go on that bridge, once you get about halfway out, the bridge will break and drop you onto the first path we took. And then you'll have to come back up or use teleport and basically redo the whole path. So don't do that. And we're going to find an alternate route to get around the bridge. Don't come on the bridge from the other side either, because the same thing will happen. It is just a trap, and it is meant to kind of irritate you and cause you to utilize a lot of resources and weaken your party. So there's one more monster in a box, and that is down here. We get the Mage's Staff, a really good weapon for Maria. And we take on Green Souls. And Green Souls are helpful. They're a little bit like magic pots or magic urns from some of the other Final Fantasies. So they actually will heal you. You can't give them an elixir to get extra stuff, but they will heal you, and that is their only purpose. So the Mage's Staff is a more powerful weapon for Maria. And if you use it in battle as an item, it actually will use a thunder spell on the enemies. So it's a reusable item that allows you to use thunder over and over again. Not a super powerful thunder spell, but it's something to consider. So if you don't want to equip it to Maria, you can always just leave it in your inventory and use it with your other party members. But Maria by far has the highest intellect or intelligence, so she is going to utilize it the best. So, because the Green Souls don't actually harm you, you can use this battle as a way of kind of recharging. Just kind of hang around until they heal all of your party members, and then continue onward. You can actually even build up your HP there by attacking your own party members, and then letting the Green Souls heal you, so that basically you're able to get to a point where you're lower on HP, but you still get some HP once the battle is over. So again, don't go on this bridge. Avoid it. And up here, there's another bridge, and beware, because there is a really high chance you're going to face some Hillgigas, even if you haven't to this point in the dungeon. That is an area that is very likely to put you in a Hillgigas fight, with one or two of them. So again, curse them, use the Ancient Sword or the Curse spell as quickly as possible, and then try to take them out fast. But we are almost done with the Deist Cavern. We have one more floor to go through, and then we will take on the boss of the area before the Life Spring. We picked up the Acid Phial, or whatever it is. It does a Scourge or Poison spell. And once we get to this next level, there's going to be some doors for us to choose from. 3 of the doors lead to nowhere, a trap room, and 1 door leads to the boss. The door we want is the second from the right. So here's the boss. This is the Chimera, or as I always pronounced it, Chimera. So you can again face up to 4 Chimeras. They are pretty powerful, but fortunately we have the overpowered Berserk spell. So I'm going to now show you the ridiculous powerfulness of a single targeted Berserk spell. So notice guy there did about 300 damage without Berserk. And now we use Berserk on him, and we'll see how much damage he's able to do once we get to the next round. Chimeras aren't super powerful. They have pretty high physical defense unless you're boosted or have really high strength. They have really high magic defense, and they have roughly, I don't know, maybe 500 or 600 hit points. But there you saw, Guy's attack was actually more than doubled with the Berserk spell. He did 800 damage instead of 300 damage. Absolutely ridiculous. And that is very useful. So if you multi-target the Berserk spell, you'll still get a buff in your attack power. It actually will increase your attack power by roughly double, maybe a little less than double on everybody. And we're going to throw the Wyvern egg in here. And that is all we have to do here. And then we're going to use our teleport spell to exit. And then we're going to head back to Altair. But we will head back to Castle Deist to see what's going on there as well. But Berserk really kind of shows off when you single target it, because you will get ridiculously high strength levels that allow you to do tons of damage. So very, very awesome. Definitely something I'm going to be exploiting throughout this playthrough from now on, especially once we take on bosses. But even in kind of random encounters, if you cast it on your whole party, you'll notice it'll be a lot easier to kill enemies as well. So, the Wyvern is dead, unfortunately. It has passed away. It sent us into the cavern with its egg, but now it is gone, because again, when things die, their corpses just disappear. And she is quite upset about this. But hopefully someday we will have a new Wyvern from the egg. Aww. Well, I'm glad we were able to hopefully preserve the species. Although, with only one left, you have to wonder how is it able to fertilize its future eggs? Is it magically able to create eggs that just hatch? Or does it have to have another Wyvern in order to continue stuff? But okay, so we're going to head back to Altair. So I'm going to get on my ship and kind of retrace my route that I used to get here. And then once we get back to Altair, we're going to check in with the rebellion and see kind of what our next task is. So we're back in Altair. Let's see how Gordon and Hilda are doing. We're going to talk to everybody, and they're going to let us know that Hilda's been acting really weird, which we noticed last time, right? The king passed away, her father, and Hilda was all smiling and kind of laughing, and that was all she was doing, which seemed kind of strange, right? You'd think when your dad dies, if you're close to your dad, right, and you have a good relationship with him, that basically you'd be sad when he passed away. So something weird's going on with Hilda. And everyone's kind of noticed. Apparently these people talk to Hilda a lot or see her a lot. Although she's only in her room, as far as we know. So I wonder what Gordon has to say about her. Now, in the original version of the game, if you play the translated version for the NES, which again is a fan translation because they never brought it to the US, Gordon says, "Hilda's gone crazy." She hasn't gone crazy, she's just acting really weird. And we will soon find out why she's acting really weird. So Gordon feels powerless, he doesn't know what to do, so it's up to us to try to figure out, can we help her? Thank you. It's good to be back in one piece. And yes, the dragoons are no more, except possibly one of them. Well, her dad died. That can make people act weird in grief, but maybe it's something else besides just grief. Maybe there's shenanigans afoot. Or a hand. Ha ha ha. Sorry. But you'll notice I'm unequipping Layla here, or unequipping some of her stuff. And that's because once we kind of have this encounter with the princess, Layla is actually going to leave our party. So Hilda wants to talk to Firion alone. So Firion, of course, is kind of confused by this, but he's going to agree, and he's going to send the rest of the party out of the room. And then we're going to get an interesting little scene. So what do you want to talk to us about, Princess? And why are you getting in bed? And why are you asking us to come to you? Look at Furian's picture here. It's like, huh? Don't tease me. Okay. Well, this is strange. Doesn't seem like the best time to be hooking up here, Furian. Uh-huh. Her face changed. She's not smiling anymore. Wow! That's why. She's a massive snake. You scurvy snake. Or as Kyle from Lunar would have said, you curvy wench. And we have to fight her, of course. So we're going to take on the Lamia Queen, and we're going to get some awesome boss music. So this is the true boss music in the game, for when you take on your uber-powered bosses. So Lamia Queen, if you don't have Berserk, I should say, is very powerful. So she can charm your characters, and she can also put your characters to sleep with her physical attack. But as you notice, we've already done 1,200 points of damage to her. Now, charm in general isn't terrible. As you noticed, it kind of wore off. But she's dead. She only has about 1,300 hit points, maybe 1,400. So we killed her pretty quick. But if you give her a chance, she can cause lots of chaos to your party. And I like Furian talking to Layla here. Layla's like, never trust a young lady who's acting that way. Good advice, I guess. But yeah, where's the real princess? That's the real kind of question here. And this random NPC comes in and says, hey, there's a tournament in Palamacia. And Hilda is actually the tournament prize. That sounds really bad. So Gordon's like, I want to go. I need to save Hilda. And Layla's like, okay, that's fine. I'll just leave. Gordon can rejoin. Which is okay. I mean, Gordon and Layla are roughly the same power. Gordon's actually a little stronger physically than Layla. So I'm okay with that. But while he's with us, he's not going to be leading the army, right? So Layla, I guess, is staying behind to do that. Which, again, remember, Layla's only been in our party for a very short period of time. And she tried to rob us when we first met her. So should we really trust her to head the army? I'm not sure I would do so. But our party members are very trusting of her. Perhaps too trusting. I guess we'll find out. But now everyone knows that was not the real Hilda. They know that the real Hilda is at the tournament and that the Emperor is actually going to be there. So the real reason we're going is not only to save Hilda, but to see if maybe we can do something about this Emperor. Maybe we can take him out, kind of kill two birds with one stone, as the saying goes. Not only get Hilda back, but end this war as well. So my next episode, we're going to head to Palamacia. We're going to fight in the tournament, see if we can get Hilda back, and also see if we can take out the Emperor to stop this ridiculous war with the rebellion. So as always, viewers, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoyed the fact that we are finally done with the Deist Cavern, which is a terrible, terrible place. And now we're going to move on and see kind of what is in store for us as we try to once again save Princess Hilda. Thanks for watching, viewers. I'll see you all next time. So long.